The conference has been great, and I just want to give a big shout out to both Alex and Jordan. It's been a great opportunity to be here, and I really appreciate the incredibly generous intro he just offered. I read in a business magazine, and I bet you guys all read them as well, that I had 2 minutes to make my good impression, and then after that it was a lost cause. So I've probably already made 2 minutes of impressions so far in the last 2 days, but what I like to do when I want to talk about anything that we do with related to our company is tell stories. So I'm going to go ahead and anchor this talk in my story and the story of Nest DC and how we got here. And they call me the boss lady at work. Did it come up? Yeah, that's me. I'm the boss lady. And I'm looking refreshed and happy and ready to go. And professionally, really satisfied. Best job of my life. Every day is a Monday. Monday's my favorite day. And this is me when I was a kiddo. All right, this is about, I was all business. And I was about 2 or 3 years away from moving to a really small town in Idaho called Haley. And my parents rented for a few years when we lived there and cobbled together enough money to put a down payment on a house because, it was the American dream. And we moved into what was generously called a 2-bedroom house. And I think it was actually a 1-bedroom because my parents slept in the dining room, my brother slept in a basement that didn't seem to have any windows, and I had the only proper bedroom, which had a great view of the backyard. And it was a tight space. And the dogs slept on the only heating vent in the house, so they would just, they'd be so hot on them, and the rest of us are freezing with this wood stove because it's Idaho, right? So all of us were looking at a different way to stretch our wings a little bit. And there was this 3-story treehouse in the backyard that was amazing. And I never got to go in it because it was my brother's. And my mom, I think, felt sorry that I didn't get to go in this 3-story treehouse. And so she said, listen, you can have half of the shed. And I thought it was great. I was like, I really am excited about having half of a shed. And I think at some point where there's like thinking that we might actually have an animal that lived in the other half of the shed, and that also seemed exciting to me. So my parents were doing a lot of construction around the house, and so I went to my shed and I did a little evaluation and thought about how I might be able to improve it. So I took some drywall and I propped it against the walls, and I found some carpet remnants and I put those down, and I got some yellow paint and I painted the drywall, and I got a cardboard box, and that was my first home office. Because what kid doesn't dream of having their first home office? But I was always really fascinated with office spaces. So, they argue that when you're really young what you want to do and be in your life, and that was my moment. So fast forward, this is me at 1013 South Rubio Avenue. I was in graduate school and I bought a duplex. And like most of you have this story, you became an investor at some point, and that's sort of how you fell into this field. And I have a political economy background, and I was a policy consultant. But when I was in school, I learned how to work on every single part of that house myself. And I figured out this great formula. My tenant was paying all my rent and my mortgage. So I lived very cheaply, and I had paint in my hair and on my hands and on my glasses all the time. And I learned how to patch a roof, and I learned how to patch adobe, and I learned how to drywall, and there was a lot of tiling that I did. And I can't say it's a high skill set of mine, but the advantage of having an 1893 Adobe duplex is that nothing is square. So you can always make the argument, oh, God, the room's not square, when your tile's moving in that direction. So that's me, happy as a clam, having worked with my hands, and realizing at that point, hey, this is a great sort of side hustle for me. So over the years, we went ahead and I purchased a number of rental properties that I managed on the side. And then I had other people that said, would you manage a few properties for me? And that was great. And I thought I had a great formula, which was if you have a nice space and you take great care of it and you make it a beautiful space, then you're going to attract a great tenant. And when you have a great tenant, they make better neighbors. And when you have better neighbors, you have better neighborhoods. And that's just good for everybody. So that was my formula, with a focus on high-quality customer service. But the problem is, I didn't want to be a landlord because who wants to be a landlord? It's the landlord brand. You guys know what the landlord brand is? It's this. It's all of these things that we think about when we think about being a landlord. Shady, not responsive, old school, negligent, hard to reach, unethical. So here I had this really cool career as a policy consultant, and then I went ahead and decided to become a landlord. But in that, I thought, you know what, maybe that's the question that I'm going to answer. It's the problem that I'm going to solve. And they also say, right, you know, if you want to have a successful business, solve a problem. And I felt like this industry had a problem. So I set about solving it by creating a completely different brand. And it was the landlord brand that was really our jumping off point. So we wanted to be really different. And this is our logo, Nest DC. It's a quail, because I lived in Tucson, and that's where that first house was. And we wanted to be community-focused, meticulous. We wanted to be responsive. We wanted to think of our tenants as clients, our clients as customers. We wanted our staff to be a customer. We were really focused on making sure that people were having an exceptional experience. And it worked. And we've been telling that story over and over and over again. And we keep telling that story. And I'm going to show a video, which is a sort of a portion of what Alex was talking about. And I'll tell you that part at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video to give you a sense of how we put together a company and that brand.
Well, it all started in my very favorite neighborhood, Van Ness. We were tucked in at 4301 Connecticut Avenue.
The day I started, we found out that one of our houses that we had just had tenants move into had a tree fall on top of it. Luckily, nobody was hurt. It was just like, hi, Grace, so nice to meet you. You know, there's no time for any orientation. You'll learn as you go. And if you could find a company that can like remove this tree from the one bedroom, like that would be great, because we want to get these people back into their house. And I just remember thinking like, oh God, this is gonna be a whirlwind.
We picked up on simple things like commenting on people's blogs, taking out an ad in Prince of Petworth, being really organic, using our social media tools, doing anything basically that was free or close to it was really our secret sauce. Everybody loved the bird. I mean, the bird was really simple, but the bird, the website, that's kind of where it began. Remember when I got really crazy about winning Best Of when we had 18 properties? I decided there was no reason why we shouldn't pursue that.
You were rabid.
I was crazy. I had my campaign slogan was, a vote for Nest is a vote for DC.
Yeah.
A vote for Nest is a vote for DC. We're a company that really, really cares.
Birds, birds everywhere.
That was perfect.
I was like, you will not regret your vote. And I have not regretted those votes, because that really put us on the map.
And we blew it out of the water.
Yeah. We
came out of nowhere, and every other property management company started paying attention.
Yeah, they had no idea who we were. They're like, are you those Nest people?
You know, we grew so fast that it was like, there was never a day. I remember Lisa always saying like, oh, we'll slow down next month. We'll slow down next week.
At that point, calls started coming in, and a busy day was, you know, we'll get a 2 or 3 new leads a week, and that's about the average for an afternoon these days, depending on the time of year.
We were practically sitting on each other's laps by the time we left Van Ness.
When we moved to Georgia Avenue and we had to buy our own office supplies and our own printer. When we had to sign a lease on our very own printer at Georgia Avenue, I think that's when shit got real. Yeah. We took on a whole new level of responsibility. It wasn't just payroll, it was me personally signing for long leases and rent and being accountable in ways that were just different and making financial commitments that were a lot harder. The move to Georgia Avenue felt really great. It felt nice to have our own space. It felt nice to be in a space that we could grow into. By the time we got there, we'd grown out of it.
I remember us having these like crazy visions of just like we were gonna have endless amounts of space. It was like we were moving into a warehouse, but actually it was like a 1,000 square foot 2-bedroom apartment that we were moving into. And at that point, I think we decided, you know, funny enough, like we did not want to rent, we wanted to own the next space we were going to be in.
We got busy really fast and we looked for a property that we could buy, and I don't really believe in renting, ironically. It just didn't feel right. And we got really lucky. The market was slow, especially on the commercial side. And this was advertised in Prince of Petworth, right where we were getting our start. And we jumped on it, and it was in our price range, and we got a small business administration loan, and turned out we were sort of a perfect candidate for that. And 2 years later, after we renovated and went through all the bureaucracy, we called it home. And as soon as we got here, we'd outgrown it for the most part. So we seem to be trending toward wanting to work like a box of kittens. So that seems to fit us well.
Okay, so I like that story, and I hope you guys liked it too. Mark Petruniak, who's here with me, put that together, and I think you might notice one thing that's been pretty thematic for us is that we don't ever talk about property management. It's part of our landlord brand solution is to just not really bring it up. But what we want to do is be really inviting. We want to be really attractive. We want to tell a story. We want people to see us as something they want to be part of. But we have to back that up with a great product and great service. And we have a gorgeous portfolio. Someone said earlier in the talks, hire a professional photographer. Hire a professional photographer. It is worth every single cent. We curated a portfolio that's incredibly high quality, stylish, attractive, well-placed. It's not that we haven't made mistakes. We've had those units that you regret pretty quickly. And I think one of the best days we ever had as a staff, and I don't even know why I did it, but I came in one day and I think I heard too many people on the phone with a-holes, and I was just over it. I don't want my team to be anything but thrilled to be at work. It's a tall order, but it's really what I'm hoping for. So I just took a piece of paper and I ripped it up and I gave everybody a piece of paper and I said, write down the client that you want to fire. And we fired all of them the next week. And it hurt financially. I think it was like $35,000 and we were still really small. And it was the smartest decision I ever made. Morale went up. Our time invested in a-holes went down. It was empowering. All those people in the room with me felt like, wow, I actually get to participate in how we're growing this business. And we can't afford crappy property. It's not worth it. So curating a portfolio that was really high quality was something that we really insisted on. And it's a decision that I think really helped us grow quickly and build a strong reputation. And then in terms of brand, we just put our bird on everything. Wherever you are, we have a bird. I'm surprised I didn't wear any swag, but we just want to be as visible as possible. And obviously the first thing that you're going to be thinking about when you think about branding now is your website. So this is our website, which Mark Petruniak also built. It is, in my opinion, it's the best site, the real estate site, I think, in the industry. I think it's even better than most of the sales sites. But you'll notice something that's really different about this site versus almost any other property management site that I've been to. It's because we're highlighting the properties first. So when you come to our site, you're looking at our properties instead of looking at our services. And if I'm wanting somebody to manage my property and rent it out, that's pretty appealing, rather than coming to our site and seeing, what our fees are or what we might offer. It's a portal for our potential tenants and for our owners to feel like they're getting high visibility. And we get 10,000 unique visits to that site a month, which is quite a lot given, we're just managing property, right? So we want people to feel like, I want to be there. I want to be in this house. I want to have that experience. And every single part of the website really underscores that concept. Even the staff, we want people to feel like it's a service-based business. They're going to be in a relationship with us. We're going to be in a relationship with them. So we want this website to be really experiential for people. And the site's an introduction, but we don't stop there. So this is where we start to highlight all the different places we'll put our bird. We like to dress our bird up. So as you'll see around Halloween, our bird becomes a witch. In the wintertime, we'll put a scarf on our bird. We have as much fun with it as possible. We've spent a lot of money on our our fleets. And I don't know if you guys have a large vehicle list, but we've got about 9 different cars, and we have every single one of them wrapped with our bird. And I can tell you that's probably one of the strongest investments we've ever made as a company, is wrapping those cars. They're like, oh, you're the bird people. Who are those bird people? What are those birds? So people are really curious about, what we are, what we do, why we do it. Our building is, we have the bird on our building, and people keep thinking we're a cafe. And to the point where I'm like, maybe we should sell something, I don't know. But we send out a holiday gift every year, and we send it for New Year's. This year, actually, we're gonna do something for Valentine's Day as well. But you'll see we work with a local bakery, and we sent out a New Year gift with our tag on it, and it says "Cheers to the New Year." It's a great way to just get that super strong visibility and have a lot of fun with it. We'll send out different cards at certain times of the year to just our clients. We'll send thank you notes that have the brand on it, and it's content light on purpose. We want people to really feel like it's a visual experience. We don't print anything out, and just in terms of tips for building a brand that's really going to help you get farther faster, don't print anything out on paper. Millennials don't like it, and that's going to be your key audience when you're renting things out. And I know because I work with just millennials. They throw everything away. They don't want to have any paper. So what they do like is swag. So we have hats and T-shirts and tote bags and organic cleaner that we make, all of which has our logo on it, and none of those things go in the trash. And we get great feedback that people really like it. And it's not a typical hat. We have everything is just really tailored to audience. We're thinking about what are people looking for when they want to have an experience with a property management company. We have almost 4,000 Facebook followers, but I don't have 4,000 tenants, and I don't have 4,000 clients. So who's following us? And people are following us because if you look at our Facebook page, and I would invite you to do it, we don't have anything about property management on it. It's all about community. It's all about what we're doing in the city. It's all about what's happening in the neighborhood. It's about new restaurants. It's about experiences. It's about music. It's about everything but property management. So we've become a community resource. And when I use the word community, I use it really seriously. If you want to build visibility in your community, be part of your community. We volunteer all the time. Today, the whole staff went on a trash walk. I hate trash, and we're in the middle of a city, and there's just trash everywhere. It really pisses me off. So we'll go on a trash walk, and everyone picks up garbage on the way to a lunch place. We eat, and then we come back, pick up more trash on the way back. And that's all over our Facebook page. It'll be all over our Facebook page, and then we're going to feature that in the weekly newsletter that goes out. It's just a great way to talk about how we care about where we live and highlight that staff and really be part of that culture. And donate to things, sponsor things, make sure that you're involved in your neighborhoods. I mean, your tenants are going to be your neighbors. So making sure you're making a difference is probably one of the most valuable things you can do as a company. And we spend a lot of time thinking about how we can make a really big difference where we live. Most of our staff volunteers. Many are encouraged to be on boards of directors. I spend a lot of time myself doing that work, and I think it's not only good for our community, but it's a great way to build visibility. And we keep really reinforcing that with the staff. And honestly, culture. I mean, if your staff is excited about where they are, and you give them a bunch of gear that has a bird on it, and they actually wear it without being asked, they're advertising for you all the time. And they're doing that because they're happy where they work. And when people are happy where they work, they talk about it. They get excited about it. I mean, we have a lot of people that want to work with us just because they see happy workers. And because it's a cool company. It's a cool management company. That's amazing, right? So we solve that landlord brand by being something really different. And we live it. So here we are, we're volunteering at Food and Friends. I put a bird on my son. And then we had our little lemonade stand in our Nest shirts for the family business. And we're just really involved and engaged every single day in what we do. And I can't understate how important it is to just be as involved and engaged as you can with everything going on around you. And then just some more practical tips. have that weekly newsletter go out. Make it light and easy, but have something that goes out that just reinforces your visibility. Brand your cars, have swag that people want. We do a move-in bag for folks with a magnet and organic cleaner and tote bags, and then we always call it like, I saw a tote bag in the wild, because we'll see them all over town, and suddenly people are using our tote bags when they go to the grocery store, when they go, and they're like perfectly sized organic bags, organic cotton, and people love putting their magazines in them. I always use mine. So building on that, sort of the sexy image piece is part of what's, I think, been the secret to our success. And creating a lot of content that's not about property management has been the other key to our success. And just being experts in what you do, but also experts in where you live. So, and loving what you do. So you're going to be the best ambassador for your brand if you really love what you do. And whatever you need to do to get there, building on your culture, having office dogs, which we have a lot of these days, and an office bird, it helps you love what you do, and empowering your team. So thank you guys again for having me. Stay tuned to Nest DC. We have new things happening all the time because we're at the point now where a little rinse and repeat. We might start another venture built on this model. So if you're interested, take a look at our websites, and we'll look forward to connecting.